Imagine an animal so large that its tongue weighs as much as an entire forest elephant. Imagine a heart the size of a bumper car, pumping blood through arteries so wide that a human child could swim through them without touching the walls. This isn't a monster from a prehistoric myth or a creature from a distant alien planet. This is the blue whale, the largest masterpiece ever carved by the hands of evolution. When we talk about the blue whale, the human brain actually struggles to process the scale. If you stood a blue whale on its tail, it would be as tall as a 10-story building. Its weight? Over 200 tons. To put that in perspective, you would need to stack 33 African elephants on a scale just to match one single female blue whale. But the mystery isn't just in the size, it's in the silence. Despite being the loudest and largest animal to ever exist, larger even than the most terrifying dinosaurs like the Argentinosaurus, the blue whale lives like a ghost. For centuries, we sailed the oceans without ever truly understanding the titan beneath the waves. Let's look at the engineering. To keep a body of this magnitude alive, nature had to rewrite the rules of biology. Every breath this creature takes is a massive atmospheric event. When a blue whale surfaces and exhales, it sprays a jet of water and air 30 feet into the sky, a misty tower that can be seen for miles. This blow isn't just water. It's a high-pressure discharge from lungs that can hold 5,000 liters of air. Inside that massive chest cavity, the heart is a mechanical marvel. At the surface, it beats up to 37 times a minute. But as a whale plunges into the dark, crushing depths of the abyss, its heart rate drops to a staggering 2 beats per minute. This is survival at the edge of physics. The blood is rich in hemoglobin, designed to store oxygen in the muscles rather than the lungs, allowing this 200-ton titan to disappear into the midnight zone for nearly an hour on a single breath. Yet, this giant doesn't hunt giant prey. In one of nature's greatest ironies, the largest creature to ever live survives almost exclusively on one of the smallest. Krill. A single blue whale must consume 4 tons of these tiny, shrimp-like creatures every single day. This is lunge feeding. The whale accelerates toward a swarm of krill, opening its mouth so wide that its pleated throat, the ventral grooves, expands like a massive accordion. In one gulp, it swallows a volume of water equal to its own body weight. As the whale closes its mouth, the baleen plates, long, fingernail-like fringes made of keratin, act as a giant sieve. The water is pushed out, but the krill are trapped inside, destined to be swallowed by a throat that is surprisingly narrow, no wider than a salad plate. This constant cycle of massive energy intake and incredible conservation is what allows the blue whale to maintain its impossible throne in the hierarchy of life. But to understand the whale, we must go deeper than the skin. We must travel back 50 million years, to a time when the ancestors of this ocean giant didn't have fins, but 4 legs, and walked upon the solid earth. The transition from land to the deep blue is a story of rebellion against the laws of gravity itself. To truly grasp the existence of the blue whale, one must realize that this ocean giant is actually an exile from the land. It sounds like science fiction, but the greatest creature to ever swim began its journey by walking. Deep within the massive front flippers of a blue whale lie the skeletal remnants of 5 fingers, a haunting biological signature, a ghost of a time when its ancestors had hands, not fins. This is not just a change of habitat. It is perhaps the most radical transformation in the history of life on Earth. 50 million years ago, a small, 4-legged mammal known as Pakicetus roamed the riverbanks of what is now Pakistan and India. It was roughly the size of a wolf, covered in fur, with a long tail and a snout designed for hunting fish in shallow waters. Driven by the primal need for food or perhaps fleeing the terrifying land predators of the Eocene epoch, these creatures began to spend more and more time submerged. Over millions of years, the relentless force of natural selection began to reshape them. Their nostrils migrated from the front of the face to the top of the skull to become blowholes, allowing them to breathe while remaining mostly underwater. Their fur disappeared, replaced by a streamlined skin and a thick layer of insulating blubber. Their hind legs shrank and eventually vanished, while their tail widened into a powerful, horizontal fluke, a biological engine capable of propelling tons of weight through the resistance of the deep. But why did they become so impossibly large? In the open ocean, the blue whale found a sanctuary where the laws of gravity are rewritten by the laws of buoyancy. On land, an animal of this size would be crushed under its own weight, its bones would shatter, and its internal organs would collapse. But in the water, the ocean supports the whale's mass, allowing evolution to push the boundaries of biological possibility. About 3 million years ago, As the Earth's climate shifted and nutrient-rich cold water began to rise from the depths, the ocean's food supply, the krill, became concentrated in massive superpatches. To survive, the ancestors of the blue whale had to grow. They needed bigger mouths to gulp more food and bigger bodies to store more energy for the long treks between these feeding grounds. This was the birth of a titan. This massive size fueled the second greatest feat of the blue whale, the Great Migration. Their lives are a constant, global-scale balance between two extremes. During the summer months, they inhabit the freezing, dark, nutrient-rich waters of the Arctic and Antarctic. Here, in the cold, they feast with a ferocity that is unmatched in the animal kingdom, consuming trillions of krill to build up a massive reserve of blubber. This blubber isn't just fat. It's a high-density biological battery, a foot-thick layer of energy that will sustain them for the next 6 months. As winter approaches and the poles begin to freeze, the whales begin an epic, silent marathon. They leave the feeding grounds and travel thousands of miles toward the equator. These are lonely journeys, often undertaken in solitude or in small pays, cutting through the vast, featureless blue of the open sea. They aren't traveling for food. In fact, they will hardly eat a single meal for the next several months. They are traveling for the future of their species. They head to the warm, shallow lagoons of the tropics to give birth. In these clear, predator-free waters, a miracle occurs. But a blue whale miracle is on a scale that defies imagination. A newborn blue whale calf is born tail first. At the moment of birth, it is already 23 feet long and weighs nearly 6,000 pounds, roughly the weight of a fully grown hippopotamus. The calf must immediately swim to the surface to take its first breath of air, guided by its massive mother. For the first year of its life, the calf is fueled by the richest milk in nature. This milk has a consistency of soft butter or toothpaste. It is 50% fat, designed to stay together in the water so the calf can swallow it. The calf drinks nearly 600 liters of this milk every single day. The result? A growth rate that is almost visible to the naked eye. A baby blue whale gains an incredible 200 pounds every 24 hours. To put that in perspective, the calf is growing at a rate of 8 pounds every single hour. This rapid expansion is a race against time. The baby must grow strong enough, and its blubber must become thick enough to survive the long, grueling journey back to the cold, dangerous waters of poles. The ocean is not a world of light, but a world of sound. To a blue whale, vision is almost a secondary sense. Beyond a few hundred feet, the deep ocean becomes a realm of total, crushing darkness where colors fade and shapes dissolve. To survive here, the blue whale has evolved a voice that is arguably the most powerful biological sound on the planet. When a blue whale calls out, it emits a low-frequency pulse that registers at 188 decibels, louder than a jet engine at takeoff. But unlike a jet, this isn't a chaotic noise. It is a structured, deep resonance moan that can travel for thousands of miles through the water. In the early days of oceanography, before our seas were filled with the mechanical roar of shipping vessels, it is believed that a blue whale in the North Atlantic could be heard by another in the Antarctic. They aren't just calling into the void. They are participating in a global conversation that has been happening for millions of years. These sounds, often referred to as whale songs, are so low that they are mostly below the threshold of human hearing. We can feel them as a vibration in our chest before we can hear them with our ears. Why such power? Because sound travels 4 times faster in water than in air, and low frequencies can bend around underwater mountains and travel through deep-sea sound channels without losing their clarity. For a creature that lives most of its life in solitude, this is their social network. It's how they find mate across an entire ocean basin, how they warn others of danger, and perhaps how they share information about where the largest swarms of krill are hiding. Some scientists believe these songs are even more complex, that each population of blue whales has its own dialect, a unique set of notes and rhythms that identify them as part of a specific tribe. But sound is also their primary tool for navigation. While they don't use high-pitched echolocation like dolphins, they use low-frequency mapping. By sending out these massive pulses of sound and listening for the echoes that bounce off the seabed or distant continental shelves, the blue whale builds a 3-dimensional acoustic map of the entire ocean in its mind. They see the shape of the planet through their ears. This allows them to navigate with surgical precision through the dark, never hitting an underwater obstacle, always finding the exact migration route they have used for generations. The most mysterious part of their lives happens in the midnight zone, depths where the pressure is enough to crush a human submarine like a soda can. The blue whale is a mammal, which means it should be tied to the surface for air, yet it is a master of the abyss. When they dive, their physiology undergoes a radical transformation. To conserve oxygen, they shut down blood flow to their extremities, directing every drop of oxygenated blood to the brain and the heart. Their rib cage is designed to be flexible. As the pressure of the deep sea increases, their lungs actually collapse to prevent them from rupturing. This is a terrifying biological gamble. If they stay down too long, they drown. If they rise too fast, they face the risk of decompression sickness, the same bends that kill human divers. Yet, they perform this balancing act every single day, plunging into the dark in search of the deep-sea krill that hides from the sunlight. Intelligence in such a massive creature is hard for humans to measure. We often equate intelligence with tool-making or social play, but blue whale intelligence is likely something much deeper, a spatial intelligence and an emotional depth that we are only just beginning to understand. Their brains are enormous, and although they have a lower brain-to-body mass ratio than humans, they possess spindle neurons, specialized cells associated with complex social emotions, empathy, and suffering. These are the same cells that make humans feel love and grief. When a blue whale loses a calf or a mate, they have been observed lingering near the site for days, exhibiting behaviors that many marine biologists categorize as profound grief. They are not just biological machines eating and swimming. They are sentient giants with capacity for memory and connection that spans decades. The tragedy of this intelligence is that for nearly a century, we use it against them. Because they are curious and follow predictable migration paths, they were easy targets for the industrial whaling era. Before we understood their songs or their social bonds, we saw them only as a source of oil and bone. In the 20th century alone, over 360,000 blue whales were slaughtered. The population was decimated to the point where they were nearly erased from the face of the earth. The silence that followed was a dark chapter in the history of the ocean. But the story of the blue whale is also one of resilience. Since the global ban on whaling, these ghosts have begun to return. Their songs are being heard again in corners of the ocean where they have been silent for 50 years. As we look at them today, we realize that the blue whale is a sentinel. Their health reflects the health of the entire ocean. The existence of the largest animal on Earth depends entirely on one of the smallest. A blue whale consumes up to 4 tons of krill every single day. But this isn't just eating. It's a massive engineering feat when a blue whale targets a swarm. It accelerates at high speeds and unhinges its jaw to nearly 90 degrees. In this split second, the pleated grooves along its throat expand like a massive accordion, allowing the whale to engulf a volume of water equal to its own body weight. Imagine a human trying to swallow an entire swimming pool in one breath. This is lunge feeding. The pressure of the water is so immense that the whale momentarily becomes a giant, bloated balloon, unable to move. Using its massive tongue, it then forces the water out through its baleen plates, fringe filters made of keratin. The water escapes, but millions of krill are trapped inside. In a single day, a blue whale consumes nearly 40 million calories. For a human to match that, they would have to eat for 5,000 years straight. Blue whales are often seen as peaceful giants, but their lives are a constant struggle for survival against the planet's most extreme conditions. When they descend into the midnight zone, they enter a realm of crushing pressure and absolute darkness. Here, they face challenges that are rarely captured on film. To survive the dive, a whale's physiology shifts into a survival mode. Blood flow is cut off from the limbs and diverted only to the brain and heart. Their heart rate, which beats 37 times a minute at the surface, drops to a staggering 2 beats per minute. This is a delicate dance on the edge of death. Scientists have discovered that these dives are recorded in the whale's earwax. By studying the layers of this wax, they can track the whale's entire life history, revealing that these giants live in a constant state of acoustic stress caused by human shipping noise and ocean pollution. A blue whale's internal systems are like a high-tech biological factory. Their stomach is divided into 3 complex chambers, designed to break down the hard shells of millions of krill. But the most impressive organ is the brain. While it weighs only 15 pounds, small relative to their body, its processing power for sound and spatial awareness is unmatched. Their eyes, the size of large footballs, secrete a specialized protective oil that prevents the salt-heavy water from damaging their vision in the dark. Even their skin is a sensory marvel. Although it is incredibly thick, it is sensitive enough to feel the wakes or ripples left by other whales miles away, allowing them to track each other through the featureless blue desert of the ocean. The blue whale serves the planet even in death. When one of these titans dies, its body sinks to the barren sea floor in an event known as a whale fall. This isn't just a carcass, it is the birth of an entire ecosystem. For the next 50 to 100 years, the whale's bones and flesh provide food for thousands of deep-sea species, from sleeper sharks to specialized bone-eating worms. Furthermore, a blue whale acts as a massive carbon sink. Throughout its life, it sequesters a staggering amount of carbon, roughly 33 tons, which is buried with it on the ocean floor. This means a single blue whale is more effective at fighting climate change than thousands of trees, making them the ultimate biological shield for our atmosphere. Despite their size, blue whales are not invincible. Their only natural predator is the orca or killer whale. Orcas are highly intelligent tactical hunters that work in coordinated packs. They target blue whales, especially young calves, using a terrifying strategy. They swarm the giant and leap onto its back, attempting to drown it by preventing it from reaching the surface to breathe. This is a brutal Goliath versus an army battle. Mother blue whales have been observed fighting off dozens of orcas for hours, using their massive tails to deliver bone-crushing blows to protect their 3-ton babies. It is a reminder that in the wild, size is a great defense, but intelligence and teamwork can bring down even a king. The blue whale is not just a biological marvel. It is a critical player in the survival of our planet. As these titans dive to the depths to feed and return to the surface to breathe, they create what scientists call the whale pump. By churning the ocean's layers, they bring essential nutrients like nitrogen and iron to the surface. These nutrients fuel the growth of phytoplankton, microscopic organisms that produce over 50% of the world's oxygen. Every second breath you take is made possible by the presence of whales in our oceans. Furthermore, a single blue whale sequesters as much carbon as 30,000 trees. When they die and sink to the bottom, that carbon is locked away for centuries. To save the whale is, quite literally, to save the atmosphere. For nearly a century, the song of the blue whale was almost silenced forever. During the peak of industrial whaling in the 20th century, we viewed these sentient giants as nothing more than a source of oil, soap, and fertilizer. Over 360,000 blue whales were slaughtered in a few short decades, reducing their global population by 99%. By the 1960s, they were on the very brink of extinction, with only a few hundred individuals left in some oceans. The silence they left behind was a haunting reminder of human greed. However, the 1966 international ban on whaling marked the beginning of one of the greatest recovery stories in nature. Today, their numbers are slowly rising, but the scars of the past remain in their DNA and their cautious behavior. While the harpoons have been laid to rest, the blue whale faces a new, invisible enemy, the noise of the modern world. Our oceans are louder than ever before, filled with a constant roar of cargo ships, sonar, and oil exploration. For an animal that communicates across thousands of miles using low-frequency sound, this acoustic smog is devastating. It masks their calls, separates mothers from calves, and disrupts their ability to find mates. Moreover, as global shipping lanes expand, ship strike have become a leading cause of death. These giants, often resting near the surface, are unable to maneuver quickly enough to avoid massive container ships. The battle for their survival has shifted from stopping the hunt to redesigning our global economy to give them the space they deserve. The blue whale serves as a sentinel for the health of the entire marine ecosystem. Their presence tells us that the delicate balance of the ocean is still holding. If the largest creature to ever live can find enough food and clean water to thrive, there is hope for the rest of the planet. But they are also a reminder of our responsibility. We are the first species in the history of the Earth to have the power to either erase or protect a 200-ton titan. As we look toward the future, the recovery of the blue whale is a symbol of resilience. It proves that when humanity chooses to step back and allow nature to heal, life finds a way to return in all its massive, breathtaking glory. In the end, the story of the blue whale is a story of life itself, adaptive, powerful, yet incredibly fragile. They are the living bridge between the ancient world and our modern era, carrying the secrets of millions of years in their songs. To see a blue whale surface is to witness a moment of pure, prehistoric majesty. It is a call to action for us to be better ancestors for the generations to come. We must ensure that the deep, thumping heartbeat of the ocean never stops, and that the ghost of the deep continues to haunt our oceans, not as a memory, but as a living king. If this deep dive into the life of the ocean's greatest titan left you speechless, hit that like button and share this video to help spread the word. Our mission at Wild Legacy is to bring you the untold stories of the natural world. Are you ready for the next adventure? Subscribe now and tell us in the comments, which fact about the blue whale shocked you the most? Join the movement. Protect the legacy.